We hope a longtime leader with the Chattanooga Police Department is enjoying his retirement. Sergeant Steve Miller served the citizens of Chattanooga for almost 50 years. Sergeant Miller began his career with the department in 1973. He worked in patrol until 1988 when he was promoted to the rank of sergeant. Miller said, "I know it sounds crazy because 48 years is a long time, but it really did go by fast. And we say thank you for your service and wish you well in retirement, Sergeant Miller." The representative from Tennessee's 5th Congressional District has announced he will not seek re-election this year. Jim Cooper said he'll be leaving after 32 years in office. Cooper is the 3rd longest running member from Tennessee. Coming up on Local 3 News at 4, a city in California has voted for new gun laws believed to be the first of their kind. Learn what extra liability gun holders are responsible for next. Now there's a pretty picture. Traffic is moving along nicely. The sky is clear. Lookout Mountain off in the background. A little bit of a view there on I-24 west of Seminole Drive. Let's hope the traffic keeps moving along this afternoon like that. Now to a couple of road closings to tell you about. East 32nd Street between Clio Avenue and Rossville Boulevard will be closed through Friday from 8:30 until 4 each day for utility work. And the 2700 block of Haywood Avenue will be closed to traffic through Friday from 8:30 until 4 as well. Detours will be posted for both of those road closings. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced she is seeking another term in Congress. That in speculation she might retire after more than 3 decades representing San Francisco. In a tweet, Pelosi said, "While we have made progress, much more needs to be done to improve people's lives." She said, "I am running for re-election to Congress and respectfully seek your support." She represented San Francisco for quite some time, and we will continue to follow this election for Congress. The San Jose City Council has voted to require gun owners to carry liability insurance in what's believed to be the first measure of its kind in the country. Some gun owners say it would violate their Second Amendment rights. The council also voted to require the city's gun owners to pay a small fee used for firearm safety education and services like domestic violence prevention and mental health services. Advocates say it will reduce gun violence in the San Francisco Bay Area. Coming up on Local 3 News at 4, a Supreme Court justice is stepping down. meaning the president can nominate a replacement. Learn what he's looking for next. The Federal Reserve is preparing to raise interest rates, but the central bank isn't doing so just yet and is leaving rates at near zero for now. Today, the Fed cited high inflation and a strong labor market as the reasons behind its decision. Interest rates have been low since the pandemic hit. Investors expect the first rate hikes to happen at the Fed's next meeting in March. Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer is stepping down from the bench. The 83-year-old justice is one of 3 liberals on the high court. He will step down at the end of the current term. Breyer's departure will allow President Biden to nominate another liberal. Mr. Biden has pledged to nominate a black woman to the bench. The Supreme Court's next term begins October 3rd. The Hamilton County Election Commission is asking for volunteers ahead of the 2022 May primary. The commission says to ensure free and fair elections, they need more Americans to answer the call. You can sign up to be a poll worker on elect.hamiltontn.gov. There's some big races we're watching in Hamilton County, and they include the district attorney's office and mayor. The following races will also be on the ballot: county commission seats, circuit court judge division seats, school board, sheriff, juvenile court judge, public defender, and register of deeds. May 3rd will be the primary election, and we'll follow all of these races and more on air and in the Local 3 News app. The city of Chattanooga is opening budget sessions to the general public, and you can participate. The first one was Monday, where a rough draft of the budget plan for next year was presented. The chief of staff said their strategy with the budget has 7 goals. The initiatives include improving early childhood education, affordable housing, and local infrastructure. There will be 2 more public input sessions, one next Monday and the other on February 10th. You can find the times inside our app. Senator Bo Watson will be hosting another town hall tomorrow for residents to give their opinions on how the state should use education funding. Watson says he believes these discussions will help create a more student-centered funding approach. Tomorrow's meeting will be at the Commons in Collegedale from 6 until 7:30. The meetings are open to the public, and you can find the link to RSVP on our website. A few Hamilton County schools will return to in-person class tomorrow after learning remotely for several days. Now, those include Soddy Elementary School and Loftus Elementary, and these schools will be virtual through Friday and return to class next Monday. Hunter Middle, Ottawa Middle, and East Hamilton Middle Schools. You can find the full list on our website and inside our app. What do you say we turn it over to David Carnes live in the Storm Alert Center? I was just thinking, I don't want any more days of this cold weather, but you have promised us some better weather in the future.
Better weather coming up next week particularly. Okay. Now we're going to have periods of nice weather over the next couple of days, but overall it's a really cold pattern that's going to be with us through the weekend, and then next week nice and toasty almost. First though, let's take a look at this beautiful picture sent in. This is from earlier today. Vicki Davis sent in just beautiful blue sky. She grabbed the camera and said, you know what, let's make a memory of this amazing day, and she certainly did. Thank you for sending that in. If you have a picture you'd like to send in, we would like to see it. You just send that to weather@local3news.com and we will effort to get it on. Here is the Holiday Inn downtown camera just kind of supporting that picture that we saw with a live look of a beautiful blue sky. Absolutely gorgeous. It's going to stay cold, though, through tomorrow morning. We'll see the chilly weather through Thursday morning, but tomorrow afternoon, we're actually going to climb to the low 50s. It should feel pretty nice Thursday afternoon, but that's going to set the stage for another batch of frigid air, the coldest air so far this season, moving in on Saturday. Most of us will be in the teens. Looking ahead to next week, though, this takes us 6 to 10 days out. You're going to see some much warmer than normal air across the eastern United States, including the Tennessee Valley. We'll see that at least through Wednesday, Thursday, but then some of the long-range model data showing more chilly air moving in maybe toward the end of next week and into next weekend. So we'll keep an eye on all of that, but we will at least have 3, 4, maybe even 5 days of nice mild weather next week. So with that in mind, let's talk about the cold. It's only 43 right now in Chattanooga, 41 in Cleveland, 45 Murphy, 39 degrees. That's it in Monteagle, and winds out of the north at 8 miles per hour, making it feel even chillier than that. It feels like 27 in Monteagle, feels like it's 38 in Chattanooga, and the wind chill is 35 in Cleveland. We've got that high pressure building in, not much going on for us. You can see the rain showers off to the south. All of this is going to be with an area of low pressure that begins to work its way up the east coast, providing for some really nasty weather for the northeast tomorrow. High pressure until then keeps us high and dry. So here's our futurecast imagery. I said tomorrow, Saturday, my bad. Futurecast showing these clouds moving in probably not until Thursday evening into Thursday night. By the time we move into Friday, notice that front sliding in, and you can see a couple of things. First of all, we may get a few flurries in some of the higher elevations late Friday into Friday night. Not a guarantee. I'll put the chance at 20%, but the biggest deal is going to be that river of cold air just settling down. You can see that low working its way up the east coast. That's going to be the system that provides the northeast with nasty weather on Saturday as a nor'easter moves through. But for us on Saturday, it's going to be all about the cold. Lows for most folks will be in the teens. Highs will only be in the mid-30s on Saturday afternoon. So our Storm Alert 7-day forecast showing that cold air sliding in through tomorrow morning, and then 53 tomorrow afternoon. 20% chance of a few flurries on Friday. Colder air moving in on Friday. Bitterly cold on Saturday. But then here's the good news. Mid-50s, nice and warm next week, Cindy.
That's what I was waiting to hear. Thank you, David. President Biden is ramping up the rhetoric, warning of enormous consequences if Russia invades Ukraine. He says he's close to deciding whether to move additional troops to NATO countries near Ukraine. NBC's Bree Jackson has more on the administration's response to the growing crisis.
More U.S. weapons, ammunition, and other equipment arriving in Ukraine, part of a $200 million package. The Biden administration using a mix of weapons and words to send a strong message to Russian President Vladimir Putin.
If he were to move into Ukraine, that there'd be severe consequences.
President Biden telling reporters he's considering economic sanctions on Russia and might sanction Putin personally if he invades. Russia denies planning an incursion, insisting the U.S. and NATO are fueling tensions, not the buildup of Russian troops at Ukraine's border. All while NATO countries, big and small, are now moving east, sending jets and vowing to defend the region. Concerns over growing tensions overseas has sparked rare bipartisan calls for action on Capitol Hill.
We should be providing the Ukrainians, along with our NATO partners, resources to defend themselves.
Once the Russians have grabbed a piece of Ukraine or tried to overthrow the entire government, it's really too late.
As of now, President Biden says he has no intention of sending American forces into Ukraine, but sends assurances to allies that assistance is available.
There's no reason for anyone, any member of NATO, to worry whether or not we, NATO, would come to their defense.
8,500 American troops remain on heightened alert. President Biden says a deployment decision would be based on Putin's actions. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
Senior administration officials say Biden is considering publicly outlining his Ukraine strategy in a speech or an interview. Coming up on Local 3 News at 4, the Federal Reserve announced plans earlier today to increase rates. We'll learn which rates they plan to bump up next. The Federal Reserve announced plans earlier today to increase interest rates this year. It comes as we're still dealing with the pandemic, bottlenecks in the supply chain, and high inflation rates. NBC's Tom Costello has details.
In the stock market, it's been a week of whiplash and wild swings, with Wall Street at the intersection of concern about COVID, inflation, a beleaguered and stretched supply chain, and a potential invasion of Ukraine. Now the Federal Reserve preparing to tame inflation, likely by rolling out a series of interest rate hikes, as many as 3 or 4 this year.
Hopefully what will happen is a combination of getting past this latest wave of the virus, getting people back to work, and reducing the supply bottlenecks, along with somewhat tighter Federal Reserve interest rate policy, should act to bring inflation down over time.
That inflation is hitting the hardest on Main Street as the price of food, clothing, cars, and housing continues to climb. One of the biggest drivers of the higher prices we're all paying, disruptions at every level of the supply chain, from Chinese manufacturing plants to gridlocked ports to U.S. store shelves.
Whether it's the air transportation to bring goods in, the cost of ocean freight carriers, whether it's truck drivers or it's distribution center workers, everything is costing more.
Along with higher prices, longer wait times. Lauren Logan and Charlie Birnbaum operate stores for expecting parents on opposite sides of the country. At Pish Posh Baby in New Jersey, they've tried to adapt.
We've completely rehauled their website, added features that would help, when we're out of stock for an item, that the customer can be notified when an item comes back in stock.
While at Juvenile Shop in California, new moms are having to plan early.
Usually we would tell them to come in their second trimester, and now we need to tell them you need to be coming in your 12th week of pregnancy, 15th week of pregnancy.
The Federal Reserve projects the rise in interest rates for March at the end of the next policymaking meeting. Coming up on Local 3 News at 4, Northwest Georgia health officials are working to keep residents safe. We'll explain how in our next half hour of Local 3 News at 4. And let's take a look at traffic as we head to break. Wow, looking pretty good. Looking pretty good as folks are moving along quite well there on I-24.
This is Local 3 News at 4.
Northwest Georgia health officials are changing their methods to tackle the Omicron variant. And COVID vaccines are not working perfectly against the Omicron variant. Learn what may be the future for the virus. Plus, a donation could get you free donuts for the rest of the month. Thank you for joining us for Local 3 News at 4. Let's check in right off the bat with David Carnes live in the Storm Alert Center and a look at our forecast. David?
Hey, Cindy, it is a nice afternoon, but of course it's chilly. You were expecting that. Beautiful blue skies, though, from our view@missionridge.com camera as folks are making the trek home up and down the ridge cut. No problems there. 39 right now in Mount Eagle. We're at 43 in Chickamauga, 41 Cleveland, and 45 degrees in Murphy. Winds out of the north at 8 miles per hour, making it feel with that wind chill like 38 38 in Chattanooga, feels like 27 in Monteagle, feels like 35 in Cleveland. Temperatures running about 10 to 15 degrees in the valley, colder than this time yesterday, about 5 to 10 degrees colder on average in some of the outlying areas. So the cold air is going to stay with us through the evening into tomorrow morning. Then we're going to actually have a really nice day on Thursday afternoon. I think you'll enjoy it. Temperatures dropping through the 30s into the low 30s, below freezing by 9 p.m. with just cold conditions through the overnight. Overnight, Thursday morning will drop down into the low to mid 20s, and then look at this rebound, 53. Can't beat that with a stick. It'll be nice on Thursday afternoon, but then another front knocks our temperatures right back down Friday and Saturday, and then after Saturday, really after Sunday morning, we're going to start to see a warming trend that's going to stabilize next week into highs in the mid to upper 50s. We're going to get spoiled and used to it. I think that'll stay the case probably into next Thursday, and then late next week into next weekend. We're looking at the cold air returning, but a nice little warm up that's going to last a few days next week. So if we can look past the cold of this weekend into next week, I think we'll maintain a good mood, Cindy.
Yes, David, you're always in a good mood. Thank you. Health officials in North Georgia are stressing safety during the pandemic with Omicron cases climbing. Local 3's Angela Kim has details on what Omicron looks like in the region and how you can stay safe.
Historically, numbers we have not seen even since the beginning of the pandemic.
Northwest Georgia Health Department Director Gary Vecchio says Omicron numbers are reaching another high.
The hospitals are full of COVID patients. Anywhere from a third to the half of their population is with COVID, and ICUs are full. Significant number of ventilator cases here in Northwest Georgia in our hospitals.
He says if the infection rate continues, it could affect a majority of people in Northwest Georgia.
I agree that eventually, maybe not this variant, but it certainly could do that and infect everybody in Northwest Georgia and everywhere else, as a matter of fact.
However, he says one factor is the vaccination rates in the area and how they have not risen much since the end of 2021.
They're very close to where we have been. Our vaccination rate in Floyd County is 44% fully vaccinated, but the other 9 counties are below that by 5 to 10%.
Vecchio says with these rising cases, you can still protect yourself by getting vaccinated and taking extra precautions with children.
Children are getting COVID, and we remind everyone who are caregivers of children, they can get a vaccine with the Pfizer vaccine if they're over age 5.
Reporting in Northwest Georgia, Angela Kim, Local 3 News.
To see COVID numbers in the North Georgia area, you can visit a link inside this story in our Local 3 News app and on our website. Well, the Hamilton County Health Department is partnering with the Chattanooga Area Food Bank for a vaccine clinic. It is next Monday from 1 to 3 at the Foxwood Food Center in the Eastdale community. No appointment is necessary. They will administer free COVID vaccines and boosters to anyone 12 and older. They will also provide flu shots for anyone 18 and older. Catoosa County is launching a second free drive-through testing site for COVID. It will be at the Women's Center building on the CHI Memorial Campus there and will open on February 1st, operating Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 6. No prior registration is needed for testing, but you must have a Georgia address. Health experts are saying COVID-19 will never go away. But as Britt Conway reports, there are conversations happening right now about different ways to prevent it.
COVID-19 vaccine dose 1, 2, 3, and 4? Well, maybe. It's one of the many questions health experts are trying to answer as the Omicron variant continues to spread. For fully vaccinated adults, cases are often mild or asymptomatic. Still, the country is now averaging more than 2,000 deaths every day, slightly higher than the Delta variant peak last September. Pfizer says they're manufacturing an Omicron-specific vaccine, and they're testing it now. But it begs the question, what about other variants?
If other variants emerge, this Omicron-specific vaccine may not have adequate coverage against future variants. We need to have a more pan-coronavirus vaccine, one that really doesn't matter which is your variant, it'll still have efficacy.
Something Dr. Anthony Fauci is expected to talk about at the White House today. He says there's already been significant work done.
There's a lot of investment to develop next generation of vaccines, particularly universal coronavirus vaccines.
Vaccines that wouldn't just cover the variants that cause COVID-19, but other coronaviruses.
The importance of developing a pan-coronavirus vaccine becomes even more apparent for what inevitably will be the emergence of future pandemics.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
The CDC wants pharmacies to stop turning away immune-compromised people looking for a fourth dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Many patients are struggling to get a fourth dose. Some places require proof that a person is immune-compromised. The CDC says about 7 million Americans are immune-compromised, and studies show it's harder for those people to get a full antibody response with just 2 or 3 doses of the vaccine. Krispy Kreme is saying you have to give a little to get a little, and they are giving away a dozen glazed donuts to everyone who donates blood for the rest of the month. Bring your donation sticker, paperwork, or show your donation date in the Blood Assurance portal to claim your dozen from Krispy Kreme. We say thanks for doing that. A few Hamilton County schools will return to in-person class tomorrow after learning remotely for several days. Now that includes Soddy Elementary School and Loftus Elementary. Then returning to the classroom next Monday, Hunter Middle, Ottawa Middle, and East Hamilton Middle Schools. You can find the full list posted on our website and inside our app. It's a bit confusing. Coming up next on Local 3 News, Georgia firefighters helped bring an unlikely friend to safety. We'll have the story of a deer caught in a soccer net after the break. And we are looking at traffic right now. It's still moving along quite well. The cameras are glitching a little bit, which makes it look like a car is about to get hit, but that's just an illusion. Traffic moving well on I-24, but there is an injury crash in Soddy Daisy on Dallas Hollow Road at Sequoia Road. Georgia firefighters saved a deer caught in soccer netting. The Savannah Fire Department said in a social media post, the deer was extremely exhausted and in distress. They used trauma shears, wire cutters, and a knife to rescue the deer. The Post said the animal wobbled a bit from exhaustion and then slowly trotted away. What you want to see. Well, we all know the saying an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but can a healthy diet give you more protection in the pandemic? Coming up at 5, the right foods and supplements to arm your body and boost your immune system. Plus, retirement news from the Supreme Court. Hear what President Biden said about Justice Stephen Breyer's plan to step down. David Carroll will join us out here for 5 o'clock, Local 3 News. Well, this is the last week you can enjoy Ice on the Landing. You can head out to the Chattanooga Choo Choo today and tomorrow from 2 until 9, and on Friday from 2 until 11 Friday night. And the skillet curling competition will be Saturday and Sunday. You can go watch and you may see some familiar faces. A Local 3 News team will be there competing in this year's tournament, and it'll just be a lot of fun, pretty much guaranteed. You can also close out the month by braving the freezing waters of Lula Lake with the Polar Plunge and Fun Run. Warm up with the optional 3-mile fun run through the preserve that ends at the Lula Lake launch point. Then you can cool down with a dip into the cleansing waters of the lake. Check-in for the fun run begins at 8:30 that morning. The Polar Plunge starts at 10:30. Tickets are $50 and proceeds will benefit the Lula Lake Land Trust. And you can show your appreciation for veterans and their sacrifice by joining a workday for Valentine's for Veterans. Organizers hope to send 1,200 cards and letters of appreciation to veterans at homes and around the globe. The workday will be from 11 in the morning until 2 o'clock Saturday at the Joe Glasscock Community Center on Morrison Springs Road. Schools, churches, and service groups are invited to take part. And tonight, the Chattanooga Mocs basketball team plays the Wofford Terriers, those pesky Terriers. The game starts at 7. Tonight's game is more than a Southern Conference matchup. This week is Coaches versus Cancer Week. And for tonight's game, Mocs head coach Lamont Paris will donate $1 for every ticket sold to the American Cancer Society. Tonight is the night to pack the roundhouse for a good cause. And that is truly a man who puts his money where his mouth is.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
David?
That's
good
wonderful
stuff.
Saturday, by the way, is going to be the coldest day in a long time. When the polar plunge thing
Yeah,
at Lula Lake. Oh my
Okay.
goodness! I've done the polar plunge once. It is a memorable. You'll remember it for the rest of your life. It's good stuff. Downtown Chattanooga, just beautiful, even with the cool air in place. Looks really nice. Look at that blue sky. Man, it is a good day. Thank you to the Holiday Inn Downtown Camera for providing that view. It's going to stay cold through Thursday morning. Temperatures tomorrow morning dropping all the way down into the low to mid 20s. So might bottom out at about 27 in Chattanooga, but it won't get warmer than 25 tomorrow afternoon outside the city. The good news is tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be great. Low 50s for Thursday afternoon, partly cloudy skies, a great Thursday, but that's going to be followed by frigid air moving in for the weekend. Again, Saturday is going to be really cold. Now, if you're longing for the warmer air, you've got good news coming next week. Our 6 to 10 day out temperature trend showing warmer than normal temperatures for the first few days of next week. And then behind that, maybe late next week, into next weekend, we might have a little bit of cold weather moving back into the Tennessee Valley. So we'll have a few, maybe 3, 4, 5 days to enjoy next week before that cold air arrives, though. Right now it's 43 in Chattanooga, 41 in Cleveland, Dalton at 42, 44 Murphy. Winds out of the north at 8 miles per hour, and not a strong wind, but strong enough to make it feel like it's a lot colder. The wind chill in Chattanooga is 38, wind chill of 26 in Monteagle. Well, our high is not that high at all. Cleveland only made it up to 42. Here at Channel 3, 44 degrees was the high. 39 Cagle Mountain, Bryan, Alabama, 44, and Monteagle only made it to 40 degrees for the high today. High pressure building in keeps skies clear. We're not going to see anything of interest in terms of precipitation the rest of the week. Looking at Thursday, again, we have that cold air through Thursday morning, but tomorrow afternoon, notice the red southerly wind flow coming up. That's warmer air moving in ahead of the next front. That's the one that's going to bring us the cold air, and maybe even a few flurries in some of the higher elevations on the backside of this system. This is one that is going to sport this low pressure off the east coast. That's going to be rising up. It's going to be a strong nor'easter in the northeastern United States on Saturday, so they are going to have some nasty weather to deal with from this system. For us, it is just going to be the cold, cold, cold. Temperatures dropping down into the teens for most folks on Saturday morning and only climbing into the mid-30s on Saturday afternoon. Sunday looks pretty good. I think we'll be all right Sunday. It'll be cold in the morning, but warm up to about 50 on Sunday afternoon. And then Monday, Tuesday next week, notice these southerly winds start to kick in, and that's going to provide us with a warmer situation through Monday, Tuesday, and at least Wednesday of next week. So cold this evening, just frigid overnight. We'll drop down to 27 in Chattanooga, but again, outside the city, much colder, low 20s to mid 20s, 25 in Dalton. And then tomorrow afternoon, that sun cloud mix, and overall a pleasant afternoon. If you have stuff you need to get done outdoors, it'll be in the low 50s, upper 40s on the plateau. And then as we move into Saturday, that frigid air settles in, highs not getting past 37, and then cold Sunday morning, and then we start that warming trend that takes us into the beginning of February. Cindy?
All right, David, thank you. British police say they have arrested 2 more men in the investigation into the hostage incident at a Texas synagogue earlier this month. The arrests were made in Manchester. They're being held for questioning but have not been charged. British police don't release the names and details of detainees until they are charged. Los Angeles is trying to ensure the Super Bowl in February is not a super spreader COVID-19 event by requiring mask wearing at the game unless you're actively eating or drinking. The Los Angeles County Public Health Department says attendees will be given KN95 masks that must be worn at all times. The NFL also plans to distribute 60,000 at-home COVID test kits to people at the LA Convention Center, where a vaccination site will also be set up. The NFL is offering on-site testing at the LA Convention Center. The man who wore a Camp Auschwitz sweatshirt during the U.S. Capitol riot pleaded guilty to his part in the attack today. The 57-year-old was photographed inside the U.S. Capitol on January 6th of last year. The photo went viral on social media because of his shirt's blatantly anti-Semitic messaging. He will be sentenced in April and could face up to 6 months in prison. He's one of nearly 200 defendants who have pleaded guilty to federal crimes related to the riots. The U.S. Coast Guard says a suspected human smuggling venture has ended in tragedy. The Coast Guard recovered a body today while searching for more than 36 people off Fort Pierce Inlet in Florida. Officials believe 40 people were on a 25-foot boat that capsized yesterday. One person was rescued, leaving 38 others still missing. Authorities have not identified the remains they pulled from the water.
We did recover one deceased body who will be transferred ashore today in Fort Pierce, and we continue to search for other survivors.
Homeland Security is questioning the survivor who said the boat left the Bahamas Saturday night and capsized when it hit severe weather. Officials say Coast Guard crews will continue to search the waters for any survivors. More to come from Local 3 News. Coca-Cola's new partner is giving Simply Lemonade a new taste. We'll tell you all about it when we come back. The American Lung Association is attacking the federal government over tobacco use. In the 20th annual State of Tobacco Control report, the government was graded a D for regulating tobacco products and an F for federal tobacco taxes. It also asks the FDA to halt the sale of flavored cigars and menthol cigarettes by April, and to classify the synthetic nicotine used to make vaping products as a drug so it can be regulated. Rapper Cardi B won a legal defamation fight against YouTuber Tasha K yesterday. The YouTuber has been ordered to pay $1.5 million in punitive damages. The total amount owed now nears $4 million. The lawsuit began in 2019, alleging the YouTuber posted false information for personal financial gain. Cardi B was also awarded medical expenses of $25,000. Well, this product, Simply Lemonade, is about to become more complex. Coca-Cola is teaming up with Molson Coors to make it an alcoholic beverage. Simply Spiked Lemonade will have 5% alcohol by volume. It'll come in strawberry, watermelon, blueberry, and regular. The lemonade will be available in 12 or 24-ounce cans. Zoo Atlanta says Ozzy was the oldest gorilla in the world when he died yesterday at 61. The western lowland gorilla weighed 350 pounds. Keepers say he lost his appetite last week, although the cause of death is still unclear. Ozzy wasn't the oldest in the world, since 2 female gorillas are older. He was the oldest male. More on Local 3, Dolly Parton and cake mix. What a combination. Stay with us to find out about Dolly's latest project. It'll be a treat. We all know Dolly Parton isn't slowing down. The singer seems to be everywhere these days, and now she is launching a line of cake mixes with Duncan Hines called Dolly's Southern Favorites. They'll have her favorite recipes printed on the back of the boxes. One flavor will be coconut and banana flavored mixes with creamy or chocolate buttercream frosting.
Oh boy, I have always loved to cook, and I am so happy to share some of my Southern favorites with you.
The cake mixes come out in March, just like her new album. And Dolly's really prettier than that picture there on the cake box, but that's just my opinion. A playground item with a new twist is coming to Chattanooga's riverfront. It's an interactive art installation of 15 huge seesaws that light up and create sound. They range in size from 16 to 24 feet in length. The attraction is called Impulse. It'll be free every day from 10 to 10 from March 4th through April 3rd. It will feature live entertainment on the weekends. It will be at the Chattanooga Green Park on Riverfront Parkway. That's right next to the Tennessee Aquarium. And now let's turn to David Carroll for a look at the evening's top stories with Local 3 News at 5.
Thank you, Cindy. We have the latest details on the stabbing of a student at East Hamilton High School. The search for a new Chattanooga police chief is winding down. And the search for a missing Chickamauga teen enters week number 2.
This is Local